Fast zombies, Madison being alive is like an early Christmas gift from The Walking Dead. So it has now actually just been announced and confirmed that Madison will be returning to Fear the Walking Dead in Season 8. She's set to return as a series regular.
Can confirm this.
We can confirm it. She's alive.
Don't act too excited.
You know, from day one of... Kim, do you want...
This is one of the guys that wrote Season 5. Yeah, that works. But no, I actually think it's really cool that they've just come out and said she's alive. I mean, it probably maybe would have been a bit better with some episode reveal, but what does that matter if no one's watching that episode in the first place? Because I think a lot of people found episode 8 of season 7 a bit tiring. I mean, me personally, I wasn't too keen of when Alicia said she's going to war with Strand. I don't like when anyone says that. To say Madison is coming back in season 8 and to have some actual confirmed hints by the end of season 7, it's bound to give Fear a lot more fullness. I feel like Madison to Fear the Walking Dead is what Carl Grimes was to The Walking Dead. She was fundamentally a part of it, and to have her back in the show will make it feel a lot more grounded. The whole point of Fear the Walking Dead was always surrounding Madison and the Clarke family, just as The Walking Dead was about Rick and Carl. After Carl, Rick still had himself somewhat of a family to live for, so the show saved itself from this awful decision, even if it was arguably never the same again. With Madison, whilst Fear has been good, I've really enjoyed it, it does kind of feel lost in translation what the whole point of it is. To have Madison back, it would give the show its own identity again. How it was announced was quite odd, but I don't want to say it was an act of desperation, because we've had signs since season 4 that she could still be alive. Not to say she's always been alive all this time, but it's a card they could always play, and they were going to further down the line. I mean, to say the least, in season 6 there were constant mentions of going back to the stadium where Madison was and what she worked for. In the back half of season 6, some characters were made to look at this walker that was made to look exactly like Madison. On the poster for that second half of the season, it had this walker in the centre of it. In that horrendous paint storyline in season 5 with Wes, there were flames, barbed wire and a ladder painted on the trees showing how Madison escaped the stadium. I think in hindsight, just announcing that she is in season 8 gives people a much bigger reason, more anticipation to watch the show, because I think the rest of this season could be quite tiring with two characters going to war. I mean, this happened before in another show and it wasn't much of a war. It's funny because this was actually revealed on The Talking Dead, and leading up to it, Scott Gimple hyped it up as some big news, and he had to actually come out and say it's not Rick, because obviously when you hear the word big news, the biggest news you could think of is Rick. I anticipated it wouldn't be Rick. He said the Walking Dead universe, so I was thinking some kind of new spin-off show. I feel like he should have said new Fear news, because then we'd know what to expect. In Madison Square Garden last week, Andrew Lincoln was spotted at a basketball game, which I wouldn't have expected him to be there of all places. All this time he's been watching Michael Jordan, can't even watch a basketball game now. I honestly just think he's in New York, because it's December, it's the Christmas season. Talking Dead is in LA. So I think at the very most, in regards to the Rick movies, he'd be in New York to have some kind of meeting, as well as just go on a vacation for Christmas.
Rick! Yeah, he's here tonight!
Honestly, even if there was news on Talking Dead about the Rick movies, it wouldn't have been anything different. In January, Andrew Lincoln had an interview about Penguin Bloom. He was of course asked about the Rick movies, and he said, yeah, we're filming in spring. Yeah, they didn't, so I don't know what they could have said, and I'd rather they film secretly. Anyway, let's break down this trailer and talk more about Madison. The first important shot to note is that Alicia looks a lot more sick in this shot. There's another shot in the trailer where she looks a lot better though. With what this shot actually is, it looks like she's going back to the stadium where Madison died. But remember, Alicia thinks she's turning from the virus right now, which would be the first we've ever seen it take this long. It's been weeks since she was bitten. And yeah, there's an endless list of what this infection could be. June's beside her, so she's already been checked out by now. Hopefully this isn't a situation where it directly mirrors how Daniel reunited with Ophelia. He reunited with her after weeks apart, but she was bitten and faded away just before he arrived. If Madison returns and then Alicia finally slips away, it would be a direct mirror of that, which would be tragic, but would leave Daniel and Madison alike and would maybe even toughen Daniel up now that she's back, because he's been made a grandpa the last 2 seasons and he's fathered Nick's killer. He's not really been Daniel since these new showrunners took over. There's this shot of Charlie stuck in an elevator with Walker surrounding it. I know for a fact she's not going to die here, but it's reminded me that what needs to happen when Madison returns is not just an exchange, a conversation needs to happen about what happened, because Nick's want for revenge, when he killed Charlie's brother leading to her killing him, it was all because he thought Madison was dead. She was used as a spy to get information and to cause all of it, and yeah, she was just a kid, she didn't know what she was doing. No, but she still did it, and it needs to be already spoke about. Madison's going to return not knowing about Nick, and guarantee it's going to be something where Daniel tries to protect her. He is such a wimp now. He's only good at cutting hair. I've always loved Daniel, but just seeing this shit that he did in season 6, I just can't be bothered. What's the point of Grandpa Joe walking around from Willy Wonka? Madison should actually have more disgust, more hatred at first than Alicia did. Eventually come around, but if she comes back and finds out Charlie killed Nick because Nick killed her brothers because of Madison dying, that's a big weight on her shoulders. Don't tell me this mum's gonna be okay that after all this time her son's dead, and apparently now her daughter too. This could be the thing that redeems Charlie, or makes everyone hate her even more. That's just the truth of it. We see Wes in this trailer too, and it actually looks like he's in the tower pointing his gun at Strand, and if he's doing that, I just don't think he's going to survive, honestly. I think a bigger character has to do that, Alicia or Morgan at the very least, and at the very most, Madison. I don't see Wes being able to do that at all. I don't mind Wes, but because of his little Paint storyline being done, with him reuniting with his brother, all these loose ends being tied, there's now nothing stopping him from dying because he's such a small character compared to everyone else. So I think he could just easily die this season. Him versus Strand, with all those things being said, it's a pretty one-sided fight. You can see in this shot with Alicia, Wes is behind her almost like a bodyguard with his bulletproof vest on. You just know if Strand is going to kill anyone in that room, he's not going to kill Alicia, he's going to kill who she cares about. He's like the Alden of Fear the Walking Dead, him coming out of his box, all of a sudden him being brave and saying something for once. I think Wes is going to die this season. This shot here looks a lot like it's Madison herself. Now, we obviously know she's not been announced to be a series regular till season 8, but an appearance in season 7 is more than likely, of course. An appearance at the end of episode 16 is what would likely happen if she's in it. And I think the main purpose for her being added now of all times she could have come back is to talk down Strand. She's always been good at talking him down from this. He's had episodes before and she was quite literally his best friend since the start of Fear. What Alicia is to him now, that was Madison since the start. And I think with all of these things being said, Madison coming back is going to make Fear a lot better. Even if it's awful, it's going to be something that just grounds Fear, makes it Fear again. So I think it's really cool. But what do you think? Are you happy Madison's coming back? Are you upset that this was that big announcement that was announced that would happen on Talking Dead? What do you think this means? Is she the leader of this Padre, or is she anything to do with the CRM? I doubt it, because Fear isn't good with the CRM. But let me know what you think down below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you press the like button. It helps me out and get this video seen by more people. And watch this video where I completely break down the end credit scene for the final episode of World Beyond.
Variant cohorts you referred to in our last communication. We haven't seen anything like that here at all, nothing close.